All right, Algebra 1, we are going to deal with solving proportions. Thought I had a video on here, but turns out I don't. So here we go. Let's see if we can get everything to work. All right, so what we're going to do is cross multiply. So I'm trying to set that up here before I do anything else. So if I have 4x equals 3 times 14 is the idea. So this is something that you have used probably since about 6th or 7th grade when you have two fractions set equal to each other. So of course, proportions, similar figures, all those things, we're going to deal with that. Okay, so then you just want to divide by 4 because we do eventually want to solve that equation. All right, so if you went ahead and used your calculator, that's fine. I might just say, you know what, that's 7 and 2 just to reduce those. So I get 21 over 2 to try and get a final answer there. All right, so we can go through. What I'll do is I kind of work through the right-hand side here. So I'm going to cross multiply. I got 6z equals 18. If I go ahead and put those together, and we'll divide by 6. So z equals 3. And these are hopefully the ones that you have seen sometime before. So 2h and 6 times 13. Keep in mind, negative 6 times 13. I'm just going to divide by 2 to make that a little bit easier. Seems like my pen doesn't want to keep up now that I'm using Zoom. All right, so negative 6 over 2 is just negative 3. So I'm going to make my life a little bit easier. Instead of making that number so big, I'm going to go ahead and make the number a little bit smaller. Go 3 times 13, it's going to be negative, and that's 30, oops, 9. There it finally goes. All right, so what we're going to do to this, maybe the one that you haven't seen yet, is trying to cross multiply where we have extra stuff going on. So I'm going to take care of this one first. So that's 2 times x minus 3. And it equals, if I change pen colors here to help out, negative 30. All right, now, hopefully you've been doing this at some point, 7th, 8th grade. Maybe you did it as similar figures, kind of talking about some geometry things. One thing I want you to start looking for, because, you know, you're Algebra 1 high school kids now, is instead of distributing here, can I divide by 2? And if this divides nicely, then that's a pretty good strategy, right? So I'm going to get negative 15, and then I can add 3. Now I can't use this all the time, right? If that was 31 or 33, it doesn't divide by 2, then it would distribute. But you know, it's a new year. I want to try and show you some ways to use your knowledge to make your life easier, right? There's a lot of math problems on here. So we see a couple more of those where we can distribute those. All right, so I'm just trying to touch base on a few of these. Again, the right-hand side, but please practice the left-hand side. The other part is it keeps your video a little bit shorter, right? We get 11 times p plus 1. All right, and here we go. Now we're going to go 6 times 6 is 36. Well, is that going to divide nicely? No. Okay, so here's back to back. So this one is 11p plus 11 equals 36. So we're just going to have to do some solving here. So I'm going to subtract 11. There it goes. So 11p equals 25, and we'll divide by 11. All right, if you want to find a decimal value, you can. I don't really care about that. Okay, it's a reduced fraction. So for where we're at in algebra, that's a good thing. All right, last thing we have to show you is how much worse could they get, right? We could end up with variables on both sides. That's the worst case scenario. So I got 3 times 15 minus x. It equals 6 times, working the other way now. Remember, they're going to be set equal to each other, negative 2 plus x. All right. For the most part, when we see this, some kids can get a little bit confused. So I'm just going to go ahead and solve it the way I would see most kids do it, which is distribute and distribute. 45 minus 3x equals negative 12 plus 6x. I want the x's on one side, so I'm going to add 3x to both sides. So that's going to give me 45 equals negative 12 plus 9x. I'm going to have to add that 12 over. So 9x is now set equal to 57 and divide by 9. All right. So we're in pretty good shape there with what happens here. They reduce, right? 9 by 3, is it going to be better than that? 127, so 19 over 3. All right, so like I said, we do want to be reduced. You're probably thinking, hey, wait a minute, what's wrong with this guy? How did he know that? Okay, so here's one thing you always want to check, and it's kind of helpful. It adds up to 12, so there's a good chance it's divisible by 3, right? All right. Other than that, we had some word problems on here, and we'll talk about those in class if you're in my class. If you're not, then talk to your teacher. All right.